Get out my car. Get out my car. Get out my car. Get out my car. I had a very bizarre incident happen to me at the Venetian Hotel. I was pulling into the valet area and I noticed a security guard stopping the cars. And I assumed he was probably asking for keys, hotel keys, or maybe an ID. So he was stopping cars and just letting them pass, letting everybody pass. There was about 4 cars before me. And when he gets to my car, he looks at me and he's like, okay, pop your trunk. I'm like, what? Like, didn't ask for an ID, didn't ask if I was a hotel guest, didn't ask anything. He asked me to pop my trunk. I'm like, why do I pop my trunk here? Like, what is this about? Like, I'm just pulling up to valet. And he's like, it doesn't matter. You need to pop your trunk. This is a security guard, a hotel security guard. This was not a hired police officer. It was not an off-duty police officer. This is a hotel security guard. And to my knowledge, they have to have a reason to ask you to open anything of your personal belongings, right? What are you looking for? Anyway, I say, I'm not going to allow you to do that. You're going to have to get your manager out here. And so he said, okay, I'm going to get my manager. So I pull over politely to the side and I wait for the manager. As I'm waiting for the manager, the security guard comes over and starts harassing me. And then he puts his hands in my car and puts his hands near my face. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? Get out my car. 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 And then the guy proceeds to say that I'm threatening him with bodily harm.
Threatening bodily harm to me.
Are you kidding? That my dog is attacking him, like on the silly stuff on the radio. And then the police show up behind me. And as I'm waiting for the manager, this guy is talking about how I'm a disgrace to Martin Luther King and all this other stuff. And it was just like, what the fuck is this guy talking about?
Dr. Martin Luther King is probably crying.
It was so ridiculous. So I just ignored him. What does that have to do with you trying to search my trunk? That's what Martin Luther King was fighting for y'all to stop fucking doing that and stop thinking you're so entitled as white men and white women to search black people's items. So the manager comes down and she's very confrontational, a white woman, and she comes with a security guard. And so they're taking my plates, they're taking all this information, and I'm trying to explain the situation. Like, I feel like I was discriminated against. Why am I being asked to pull over and check my trunk? And she's like, well, this is a part of the hotel policy. And I'm like, okay, well, show me the policy then. Show me the policy where it says that you are supposed to check people's trunks when they're entering the property.
Okay, because
so you have to leave the property
because
now.
I did what?
You have to leave the property.
How was it trespassing?
So I explained the policy, right?
Okay.
Then you stopped wanting to speak with me. Then you were uncooperative when I tried to speak with you.
I wasn't cooperative.
You also
I was very
tried to record
cooperative.
my
I told you
officer.
I did
You
because
also,
he had his hands in my car and he was in my face.
Okay, that's not what we have. So you're gonna be trespassed.
That's not what you guys have?
Yes.
Okay. So the policy that you're referring to, the 1 in 7, what's the policy exactly? Because I'm gonna look it up.
No, you totally can't.
Yeah.
So you're gonna call corporate, so corporate
right.
will be able to explain that to you.
Okay, so you have that documented in the policy, right?
So, ma'am, you've been trespassed. When you call corporate, they'll be able to explain that policy to you.
The trespassing policy?
No, the trunk checks.
The trunk checks. Okay.
Both.
Okay.
Right, have a good one.
Alexis and Daniel, thank you.
So I checked the website and it lists that they do random searches. It also lists that if you refuse to search, you can park off property. The security knew that I was dropping something off to someone in valet and I wouldn't even be parking on the property. I wasn't even given that option. He told me that if I didn't get my trunk searched, then I would have to leave or else I would have to face a misdemeanor and that he would be calling the police, which he did call the police because during this encounter, the police pulled up right behind me. And I know that the Venetian is a private property, but your rules and regulations and policies have to be reasonable. If the police can't even search my vehicle without proper justification or documentation per the 4th Amendment, why would a random security guard be empowered to search somebody's car? That can open up so many issues. I had nothing in my trunk, absolutely nothing. But, imagine Nevada is a legal state for a lot of things. Imagine if I had guns in my trunk or marijuana in my trunk, and those are legal, right? But he was entitled to search my trunk. So this security guard already belligerent and just out of character. You don't think that this man, if he found something, he wouldn't escalate it and make it horrible for me? Like, it could have been a horrible situation for me, you know, a very innocent situation. So my question is, why is this rule allowed at the Venetian? And I feel like it's allowed so that they can randomly discriminate on individuals for whatever reason. They are empowering their underskilled employees. They haven't gone through proper police training. They haven't had psychological training. Why is Venetian empowering their management and their security to do something that is so dangerous and could really be detrimental to an innocent person in their life? So I ask for the general public to contact the Venetian or escalate this as far as you can so that they can stop this policy, so that this policy can be removed.
Man filing a lawsuit against a strip casino, accusing security guards there of not doing enough before a gunman shot him. 8 News Now investigator David Sharns breaking the story first inside of our free app. So David, what's this man saying?
Well, he is accusing staff at the Venetian of failing to protect him and the group he was with after a man allegedly threatened him with a gun. That all happening on the casino floor. Now, things then escalated outside. Now this shooting victim is recovering from his injuries.
The lawsuit filed Thursday accuses the Venetian and its security staff of failing to protect a group of customers after a man threatened them with a gun. Documents say that man later shot Eric Aguilar as he was celebrating his birthday. According to the lawsuit and court documents, in January 2021, that gunman shot Aguilar outside of the Palazzo on the Las Vegas Strip following an altercation inside. Lawyers writing, without warning, the gunman began to verbally engage Mr. Aguilar's group, stating that he would expletive kill Mr. Aguilar and his friends. The lawsuit says the man with the gun then left the casino after making the threat. Security guards then evicting Aguilar and his friends from the property. Lawyers writing, upon hearing Mr. Aguilar report that the gunman had threatened him with a handgun on the gaming floor, one of the 3 uniformed security guards said they did not give an expletive that the gunman had pointed a gun at him and told Mr. Aguilar to leave. But it's what happened outside that lawyers say changed Aguilar's life forever. Aguilar left the casino and was walking on the sidewalk with a friend when the alleged gunman greeted them. Police alleging Aguilar and his group then hit the armed man and his friend with beer bottles. Aguilar's attorneys say it was self-defense. The gunman then shot Aguilar on the sidewalk. The lawsuit claiming the casino was negligent by not taking care of the alleged gunman sooner, which led to that shooting outside.
Now, a grand jury indicted Aguilar, the shooting victim, on charges connecting to the fight outside the casino that you just saw. He has pleaded not guilty, saying that it was self-defense since he knew that that man who would shoot him just seconds later had a gun, since he showed him that on the casino floor. We tried to get more information about the gunman, but Metro Police declined to release an incident report today, citing an ongoing investigation. Denise?
So, David, as you mentioned, it's important to note that firearms are banned on the Venetian property, excluding, though, on-duty law enforcement. Now, that's according to a post which is right on its website. We did ask representatives from the Venetian for comment on this lawsuit today and did not hear.
Oh, we got the security guard over here. He's eyeballing us. All right. Security man stand is... Huh? Everything okay? Yeah, everything's fine. How you doing? He took off in a hurry. I guess I'm not going to get to tell him about my fetish for parking garages. We got security man Stan over there. He's keeping an eye on us. He definitely sees us. He's not approaching, so I don't know, maybe he doesn't have an issue with us filming a parking garage. I mean, why would anybody care about somebody filming a parking garage? I mean, I don't know. Do you care about people filming a parking garage? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. No, here we go. It's on now. Hi. I can't hear you very well. I can't hear you very well. How you doing? I think he's calling for backup. Or maybe he's like, oh, it's just a couple of auditors. I don't know, I have a feeling he's gonna go get the muscle. Hey, how's it going?
Any particular reason you guys are recording the entrance to the garage?
I just got a thing for parking garages. I like to film like the cars and stuff coming out.
Well, this is private property, so you guys can't do that, and I appreciate you not recording me anymore.
Well, this is actually the sidewalk, the public sidewalk.
Our property?
Yeah, but we're doing so from the public sidewalk, though, so that's why it's okay. I mean, we're not going to go on your property.
I understand, but you're recording our property, and now you're recording me, and I'm asking you to stop.
Well, because we're having an interaction, so.
That's all well and good, but this is private property. You cannot record this building, and you cannot record me.
We can, just so you know, I mean, we can record anything that we can see from a public space. We're on a public sidewalk. Yeah, there's no reasonable expectation of privacy in public, sir.
Okay.
So if you approach us,
why are you recording our building, and why are you recording me?
I got a thing for parking structures,
Okay,
you know.
well, go somewhere else and do it.
Well, this is a public sidewalk. We don't have to go
I'm
anywhere
telling you
else.
to stop recording our private property.
Well, we're not going to.
Sir, you gotta de-escalate, please. De-escalate.
Okay. And you have to stop recording me.
For what reason?
Because I am an employee of this building.
Okay.
This building is private property.
But this is a public sidewalk.
Are you familiar with the Culinary case? Well, you should, because when we're in court, that's gonna come out.
So why are we going to court?
And because look at how you're acting, man. I'm trying to tell you to de-escalate, and you're also saying that it doesn't care. Thank you. Hells yeah. Thank you, baby. Wow. Is this how you represent your company?
Just catch me up to speed, boss.
Okay, we're just trying to explain to your fellow officer that we're on public property. He's trying to say, first he tried to say we're on private property. This is not private property. This is the city of Las Vegas, right? We're filming what we can see from a public space, which we're allowed to do. Anything that's visible from a public space, we can record. I mean, we're not going to be here all night. I mean, if that's what you're worried about.
But the single fact that you're recording team members, that's something that can land you in trouble with this problem.
Well, no, because we're on public property. Now, if I want, I mean, just to educate you, if I
know where you're getting at.
Yeah.
But you got your camera pointed at me.
Yeah.
I know the fact that you're both recording us right now.
Yeah.
That is what I'm saying is an issue.
Yeah. Well, the only reason we're recording you guys is because you guys came out here onto the sidewalk and made contact with us. So that's why we're recording, you know.
Yeah, no, I get that, bro.
So what I'm basically trying to say, I mean, if you, oh, come on, that's real professional.
Why are you recording?
All right.
Look, we're on. I mean, if you guys would just leave us alone and let us do our thing, we're not going to be out here all night. I mean, I got margaritas that are waiting, so.
I understand that.
But again, I mean, you're being pretty courteous, so that's why I'm trying to be courteous to you.
I appreciate it.
This is a public sidewalk. We're on public property.
Okay.
We can record anything we can see from a public space. I mean, that's First Amendment protected activity.
No, I understand that. My next question to you is, what has you interested in the Palazzo parking structure?
Huh?
What has you interested in the Palazzo parking structure?
Well, there's just a lot of, I mean, look at, this is Las Vegas.
It's just a pretty facade.
Yeah.
You know, the windows look nice.
Yeah.
All that. Can I have a... Okay. Are you like filming anything like, so?
Since you work for them,
I mean, that's pretty much all I can say about it at this point. But like I said, I mean, we're not going to go on your property. I can see if we went on your property, then, I mean, you'd have a leg to stand on. But we're out here on the public sidewalk, so there's really, you know.
But you could understand how filming a checkpoint that goes straight to a garage can raise a few eyebrows, right?
Yeah.
You understand
Yeah.
that concern?
Yeah, I mean, I understand you guys don't really like it, but like, I don't really like him shining his light right in my eyes. I think that's pretty unprofessional, but like, I mean, huh? No, you're shining it right in my eyes. I mean, I'm not going to be a baby about it, but I mean, it's kind of unprofessional, really, you know.
You're gonna hurt them. You're not supposed to be.
So basically what I'm trying to say, sir, if you guys would just leave us alone, let us do our thing, we're going to leave. I mean, we're not going to be here all night. I mean, you can call Vegas Metro, but they're going to tell you we have a right to film from the sidewalk. I mean, so, I mean, if you want to, I mean, if you want us to stay here and wait for the police to get here, I mean, we're more than welcome to do that. I mean, we're not afraid to talk to the police. So, I mean, it's up to you.
Yo, Josh, can we get the call to
Prince Vegeta, make What was that?
As a duly appointed representative of the owner of this property, I hereby warn you, you're trespassing on this property defined by Nevada Revised Statute 207.200. If you do not leave these premises immediately, you'll be subject to arrest for misdemeanor. You're subject to return to these premises after being duly warned not to return, or you're subject you to arrest for trespassing.
Okay, I'd like to pause this video for a moment so I can explain something to y'all. What this security guard is referring to is the Nevada Revised Statute concerning trespassing. However, this does not apply to us as we were not on their property, nor were we ever on their property. So this rent-a-cop can take his trespass warning and stick it.
Okay, well, like I said, you just got to keep in mind, boss, this is a lifetime ban from the Venetian Palazzo and the Venetian Expo Center.
Yeah. But we're not on your property, though. And we're not going to go on your property.
You are.
This is the city of Las Vegas. This is a public sidewalk.
This is the private property.
No, this isn't. This is the public sidewalk.
This is the private property of Venetian Palazzo.
Yeah. Well, like I said, you guys, you're more than welcome to call Las Vegas Metro. I deal with Las Vegas.
Metro, it's because we're detaining you.
Huh?
If we call Metro, it's because we're detaining you. You've already been told to depart. You're still here. You're still doing the thing we told you not to do, so leave.
This is a public sidewalk.
I'm well aware, but you need to be away from our parking garage.
We're not on your property. And as a private security guard, you have no authority out. No, I don't have to go anywhere. If you want to call Las Vegas Metro, we're more than happy to talk to them.
Sir, you're standing in the middle of the street. Please
yeah, you should.
Well, first it was about. Well, that's not your. My safety is not your concern.
Hey man, I just don't want you to get hurt. Please just join.
Yeah, like at least don't get hit by a car.
Why? Don't worry about it.
I don't want you to get hit by a car.
I appreciate your concern for my safety, but all right. So we're gonna play the flashlight game.
I already told you to keep moving. You're still on our property. Go away! Alright, so if you want to stand in the street, if you get hit, like you said, you're on public property.
All right. I know how to look both ways before I cross the street. All right, so we got the walk of shame. We got the quadruple walk of shame.
This is a video I've put off for a long time, over 6 months, because it involves one of my most favorite hotels that I've stayed for sure at least a month of my life in. So I've been torn about this. But it's also the only hotel I've ever been to where they actually confiscated my personal handgun. It's one of the nicer hotel casinos on the Strip. Lindsay loves Italy, so I've taken her to the Venetian a number of times. We've rented the gondola. We rented one of the high roller penthouses for our 7th anniversary. We did a fun little vow renewal at the Little White Wedding Chapel, got remarried by Elvis, invited a bunch of our friends. We called it like lucky number 7, right? And because I'm an absolute degenerate, this was the first casino I brought my niece, Caroline, to last summer when she was old enough to go. I spent my last birthday at the Venetian with a bunch of my buddies from New Orleans. We had a great time playing Pai Gow until 4 a.m. You guys know it. I go to SHOT Show every year. Love SHOT Show. Love Las Vegas. I don't get tired of it. I look forward to staying at the Venetian every single year. I've got a Louisiana concealed handgun permit, which is recognized in over 40 states, including Nevada. If I'm traveling, if I'm checking a bag, if I'm going to a state that recognizes my permit, I bring my handgun. Same goes with Rye Guy, my cameraman. We land at McCarran or Reid, or whatever the airport's called now in Vegas. We usually strap up and then head to the hotel, but we got there late this year. I was ready to get to the Venetian and hit the tables, start drinking beers. So when Ryan asked me if we're going to crack open the gun case that's locked, get our guns out, load them up, holster them up while we're sitting there in front of the airport, I say, dude, forget about it. I'm anxious. I want to get over to the Venetian. Let's go. So we get to the hotel, drop off our bags with the bellman, check in as usual. It's SHOT Show. That means everyone's there for the same thing, and they're there for the literal biggest gun show in the literal world. So you know at that moment, if there's 1,000 people on the casino floor, 950 of them are carrying guns. The very, very important point here is that there's nothing stopping me from walking in, carrying my gun on my waist, as I've done for probably 10 years in the past, nor is there anything stopping anyone else from doing it. So imagine my surprise when I get a phone call from the front desk after I get into my room saying that they searched my bags and they found 2 Glock 43Xs. I was surprised because, first of all, they searched my bags. Second, they told me I couldn't have the gun in my room and that I'd have to pick it up from a gun check if I wanted it back, at which point I would be escorted out of the hotel, not to return until I come back and drop my gun off again with security. So the 4 or 5 other dudes from TFB in the room with me, they're of course carrying their guns and they're staying in the hotel, and they all had a laugh at my misfortune. So I felt like my privacy had been violated, but I wasn't stressing about it too much. I realized a lot of people watching this video are probably irate already that a hotel would search your bags for guns and then take them, and you're probably mad at me for not being more angry about it. I'm a big picture guy. There was the shooting in Las Vegas. I figured the Venetian has this like feel-good security policy so they can tell the more pusillanimous of their guests that they can't bring guns to the hotel, and they can maintain this little charade and everybody thinks they're safe. They told me to come down to the bell desk to get the guns, to check them in the armory. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, gonna be a quick process. I'm gonna go down there, talk to a security guard. They're gonna take me to like some awesome armory, like a vault, Ocean's 11 meets John Wick or something, and boy, was I way off. I'm staying in the Venezia Tower, so I go down, the bellhop is right there, right when I get off the elevator, so I go over there, and they wheel out my bag by itself, like alone. It's a gym bag, and it's got a box that's got a lock on it and a gun in it, and they're wheeling it out like it's a goddamn Broken Arrow nuclear weapon, when it's just an unloaded and checked Glock 43X, in a box about the size of a Bible, in a gym bag with all my clothes. At that point, they tell me they're gonna have to call security, who's gonna have to escort me to the security desk to check the gun in. I have to stand in the lobby, wait a few minutes for security to arrive. Then this big dude, I think his name was Danzel or something, comes down, super nice guy. I could tell he was just as excited to deal with this shit as I was. And again, bear in mind, I'm pretty anxious at this point because I had just gotten to Las Vegas. It's already later in the evening. I hadn't eaten dinner. I wanted to crush a few beers. I wanted to lose a few $100 on the tables. Plus, my boys, Hop and Ryan and Luke, they're all there with me wanting to do the same thing, which makes it 10 times worse than if I was just sitting there killing time by myself. But the good news is that those guys have cell phones, and so do I, and that's really important for this video. Danzel walks me over to the security desk, but in the process of walking me over to the desk, he gets a call on his radio saying that they actually have to take me to this underground security layer. So we turned back around, and I think at that point I figured I would just deal with it tomorrow because I could already tell that Danzel's supervisors had no idea what was happening or how to deal with the situation. So I figured it'd be better to just deal with it tomorrow. So I say, Danzel, hypothetically, what would you do with that bag if I just got up and ran out of the Venetian hotel right now? He made a comment to the effect of, I probably wouldn't let you back into the hotel. So I say, okay, hypothetically, I have a heart attack right here, right now. What would you do with that bag? Because that's what I want you to do with it right now. I don't want to mess with this right this moment. I can't remember exactly what he said, which is unfortunate because it was way funnier, like we all laughed, than what I remembered, but I think he said something like, hey man, we ain't doing more effing hypotheticals. So we go to this underground security office. It's kind of like the things you see in the movie Casino or Goodfellas or something, a bunch of guys just staring at security cameras. Danzel goes in there, talks to some people, I'm talking to the boys, and then we get escorted to another subterranean security office. It's at this office that we're picked up by an entourage where we have practically an entire security detail following us like we're about to pull off a heist. I feel like Hannibal Lecter being moved from my cell to the airport tarmac or whatever. I mean, there's literally a security guard 6 o'clock behind me. The whole thing was so ridiculous, and I felt like a criminal. I think after about an hour, we finally reached, depending on how you count it, our third, fourth, or fifth destination of the evening. This was probably a quarter to a half mile of walking that we've done. If you've been to SHOT Show, you know it's a bit of a hitch to go from the front desk at the Venetian all the way through the Venetian, through the casino floor, through Restaurant Row, into the Sands Convention Center, then into the basement of the Sands Convention Center, which is where this room was. The penultimate room we visited, yes, penultimate, not ultimate, the one right before that. Little did we know, but we still had one more stop to go. That's where the room is. So we meet Don Corleone of the Sands Convention Center security and his entourage. And after that, we finally go to yet another room where I'm given this claim check that I'm supposed to keep track of on top of all my other stuff and covering SHOT Show for the entire week if I ever want to see my pistol again. I'm told if I want to pick up my gun to legally exercise my right to carry it, for which I've been permitted for almost 20 years, for which permit I'm certified to provide instruction in 2 states, I'm more or less going to have to repeat this exact process every single time and then be escorted off the property.
So here's the security desk where I'm supposed to check in to get my stuff back. Nobody here. Just need, like, I've got my guns in the armory, and they told me to check in with security and nobody's there. There's nobody there.
I'm expected when I return to the property to follow the same procedure to check it in. Considering I wasted probably over an hour from start to finish just to check the gun in, this is functionally a deprivation of my gun. It was so tedious to check the gun in that there's absolutely no way I was going to ruin the rest of my trip pissing away somewhere between like 1 and 2 hours just to check a gun. It's absurd. What makes it even more absurd, go all the way back to the beginning, but if I had just worn it like every other person attending the show, like I've done for a decade in the past, it would have never been an issue. It never has been. So there are thousands of guys walking around with their Glocks while me, dumb idiot, they take it from me, all because I just didn't wear it in. Whew, boy, we're not even to the best part yet. So, after being escorted with a security guard detail worthy of clear and present danger, once we dropped the gun off, I guess security guard Fred Flintstone slid down the brontosaurus back and pulled the toucan's tail because there was not a single security guard to be found. We were just turned loose after we checked the gun in on the SHOT Show floor. Had we been less scrupulous journalists or people, at a minimum, we could have walked around the SHOT Show floor and at least gotten a scoop on the new products that were going to be revealed over the next couple of days.
James, you've just successfully infiltrated the SHOT Show floor a day before it's opened. What are you going to do now?
I know, well, I wish I knew what to do.
I have to confess, I think Luke and Hop maybe took advantage of some mannequins, and I gotta tell you, if it's a crime to grope a mannequin butt cheek in Las Vegas, then you can just call me the Fremont Street Fondler. So fast forward to a week later at the end of the trip. As I said, I didn't even make a single attempt to pick up my gun because I didn't want to deal with the waste of time or with the incompetence again. I would have rather just been stabbed by a hobo in front of the Walgreens by the Casino Royale. I wake up a little bit hungover and find to my relief, my flight's been pushed back an hour. So Ryan and I kind of leisurely pack, build in a little bit of time to make sure to go back and pick up the guns. We're just kind of hanging out, shooting the shit, when all of a sudden I get a notification that, just kidding, Southwest is departing at its original time. So it's been brought back an hour, a solid hour and a half to make it to the airport, 15 minutes away, but I'm worried about how long it's going to take to get our guns back. So I call down to security. I get passed around to several people in the process of asking about how to get my gun back because nobody knows anything. So I finally speak to a supervisor and we more or less get in a shouting match because I'm telling her that I'm going to miss my flight if I have to repeat the same process from the other day. This woman tells me, no issue, no problem. I'm going to be able to get my gun back in 10 minutes or less. But if I don't pick it up, she threatens to turn my guns over to the Las Vegas Police Department. I go down there, no shock. It takes damn near a half hour to go to the security desk, get somebody to escort me to the vault area where security guard DJ Paulie D is waiting for me. I point out to him which gun box is mine, and bear in mind, it's got a ticket on it that's got my full name, address, phone number on it. I give him 2 forms of photo ID. Both have my address on them, and I've got the keys to the box. He wants a business card.
Got my address on it, I got the key. You want me to...
No, you got ID, so we can
yeah.
confirm it. Same name, right?
Same name, same address.
And do you have any like kind of like business card?
No.
No? Okay, just 1 second.
A business card. I could go to the office center in the casino and print out a business card. I have to present fewer credentials to get through customs in a foreign country than I do to have to get my own property back with my name on it from this guy.
I mean, is there any dispute that this? I got the key to it. That's got my address on it. It's got my name on it. My name's right there.
Someone's trying to pick up something from the vault. He doesn't have his other ticket, but he has his ID that matches. And it has his name, his address, his information, everything. He just doesn't have the other half of the ticket.
Thank you.
He eventually gives me my stuff back. We walk all the way back through the Sands Convention Center, all the way through the Venetian, all the way to the Venetian garage on the other end of the hotel. We get in an Uber, haul ass to the airport. We make it in time to catch our flights. But we missed the window to check our bags by 5 minutes. So at that point, we were stuck. I was supposed to get home to New Orleans early in the afternoon on a direct flight. I've mentioned this before. My stepfather passed away on Christmas Eve 2021. It's been really hard on the family. This was 3 weeks before SHOT Show. I didn't know it, but my mom had actually driven a few hours over to New Orleans to meet my wife. They were going to pick me up at the airport together as a surprise, which I found out once I called my wife and told her I wasn't going to be getting home until 10 o'clock that night because Southwest had to put me on a later flight with a long connection. So that's my story. Am I happy about it? Absolutely not. But as an American, I do respect property rights. If the Venetian wants to treat their guests that come in town for the largest gun show in America this way, that's up to them. But then again, guests also have the ability to choose a different hotel. And it isn't even about the fact that they have this asinine policy. It's that in I don't know how many years of going to SHOT Show, I've never heard of it. And that they searched my bags, and that they took my stuff, and that they made it so incredibly painful to get my stuff that they basically deprived me of my right to protect myself. Worst of all is how irrational this policy is when any butthole off the street who doesn't hand his bags to the bellhop can just walk in wearing a gun, and that's fine. In other words, they're not stopping whatever they think they're stopping by having this policy, but they're inconveniencing a lot of their guests. So the main takeaway is if you're staying at the Venetian and you plan on bringing a gun, don't give it to the bellhop. Venetian, if you guys ever watch this video, again, your property. I'm not some bozo who's going to sit here and start raving about my Second Amendment rights because, it's your house, it's your rules. But I suggest that if you do have rules like this, if you're going to enforce them, number one, don't. But if you do, tell your guests in advance, and barring that, at least make it convenient for them. Imagine if I was like 78 years old and I went through this entire procedure and got like hammer toe from having to walk a mile round trip to check my gun in and check it out. Dudes out there watching, what do you guys think about this? Let me know in the comments. Hopefully Venetian will read them and they'll see your comments. Am I off base? I mean, it is their property, their rules, but it also is kind of silly to have those rules when it's so easy to get around them and so hard to comply with them. This isn't meant to be an attack. I'm not doing this as a ploy to rack up a bunch of views. This is me reaching out to one of my most favorite hotels in the world and asking them to rethink this policy. And if it takes pressure from me, from my viewers to do that, great. Venetian, if you're watching, please get this figured out before January 2023. If not, guess I'll be checking out that new Hard Rock hotel that they're building.
Let's start with the Venetian, all back in October of 2018. As you know, Vice President Pence was visiting in town. I wanted to go to see the event. Obviously, I was too late. The Secret Service didn't let me in. So I waited for about 2-3 hours to make sure that my friends got out, and I just wanted to talk and just get some updates about what happened. Then, while I was waiting, I was wandering through the Grand Canal shops. And one of these so-called tourist gift shops says, hey, we have some people that we know that we think you're cute that we want to introduce you to. So then I arrived at the hotel for the second time. While I was waiting to be introduced, all of a sudden a security guard approached me and he said, hey, we just want to ask you for ID, something fishy happened. Obviously, we just want to clarify everything is okay. And I did. I obviously should have not done that, but again, I didn't really know my rights at that time. And then all of a sudden, what we saw was an army of security guards, like about half a dozen at least, come up to me, grab my ID, got my information, just asked me some random questions, and then all of a sudden they said, well, you were banned from the Venetian hotel. They didn't explain why, they didn't explain exactly what could have I done better, absolutely nothing. And if they wanted to, they told me that we're just going to have to chase you out of your property and then explain why. And then when they did, they said, oh, sorry, we don't have to tell you, this is private property, you have to go. It's just absolutely disgusting that all of a sudden they can just treat you like cattle, get away with it, and ask for your ID for something that you didn't actually commit a crime or you weren't actually conducting business. And all of a sudden, the next day, hard to believe, I got a call from Metro Police. Now, first of all, why would they get involved? It's just beyond any reasonable doubt. And it makes you really think, do these casinos have extra power, extra privileges over typical private property owners? Now, many of you think and ask yourself, well, Cyrus, maybe it's because that you're very vocal, your views, you're very outspoken, and people like Adelson is certainly not a fan of who you are. Who was running the property at that time, because that was 2018. He passed away about 6 months ago. Can things change because they're having a new owner? I don't know exactly.